Hi my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, and for everybody who's new, I'm Leorah and I'm so glad you found me. So welcome to today's video, which is about this palette, the Search palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. So this is my second palette from Blend Bunny. I also do have the Blends palette, which was the first one, and I am so glad that I have this. Both of them I have received from my friend, from one of my besties, which is so super kind, and I'm so blessed to have friends like this, seriously. Okay, so anyway, now it's about the Search palette. Of course, the Blends palette I have featured already previously here on my channel. Okay, this is how she looks. There was no question in my mind that I would want to have this palette, you know? Yeah, sweeties, this dark row of mattes here, dark mattes, do you know me this much? Then you know that this is what caught me. This is what caught me. Like, even also this row, these are the two rows that caught me the most. So beautiful, you know. And also previously I have already liked the formula of Blend Bunny Cosmetics, so I was like, yeah, okay, you got me, you know. And also trying the shimmers for the first time, and then of course you have a whole row of muted pastels here, and then also a whole row of neon, so you get a whole lot in one palette. Anyway, sweeties, we're going to talk about this palette today. I'm going to create this look on camera. I also have two other looks that I've done previously that you will see in pictures right before the review part. Also, you're going to see swatches, arm swatches right before the review part. And I'm going to talk in this video about something that is kind of a life update situation, what is going on, some realizations that I have had and that are hopefully going to help me to move on with my life. Okay, sweeties, if you've just found me, I'm Leorah. I'm a makeup artist and stylist. I'm living for colorful makeup. As you can see, bold and colorful. I also actually do like neutral looks, but just not all the time, you know. So this is how you're going to see me most of the time. This is what I'm loving, and of course here on my channel you will mostly see indie brands. I really don't buy any mainstream releases because, you know, it's just not that interesting for me personally. So that's why I'm considering myself the ambassador of indie brands here on YouTube, among of course all kinds of other people who feature indie brands. Okay, sweeties, this is what you're getting here, and if you've just found me and you have no idea what I'm all about, then feel free to check out my channel and of course my social media, which is linked in the description box, so you can check out what I'm doing. Okay, besides that, of course, subscribe to my channel because I would love to have you here as part of my tribe. And with all of that being said, let's jump right into the video. Okay, sweeties, here we are to create a look that you just saw in the intro, and I am working of course with this palette, the amazing Search palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, I think I want to go in with the darkest shade first of this look, just because I want to, not because it's necessary, because these mattes are really nice, you know, for my makeup style, because of course there are other people who need other things. Okay, so anyway, I am using the Be Perfect eyeshadow primer in today's look. I have tried in the other two looks also other primers, and we're going to talk about that one too. Okay, so now I'm just going to place the darkest shade here deep into the crease, and then we shall see what happens, you know. Okay, and as always, I need to talk to you. I need to therapy group. Okay, wait, let me just move my mirror a little bit closer, so I'm a bit short-sighted. Okay, sweeties, I wanted to talk to you about something, and that is actually something that I have realized just recently now. And I always feel so kind of borderline stupid when I talk about stuff like this, because I always feel, well, there are going to be at least 80% of the people that are watching this, they will say, duh, Leorah, like, I could have told you, why didn't you ask me? You know. But anyway, there are a lot of situations or a lot of things in life that you just have to realize yourself, and you kind of have to go through the whole process to get there, because if someone else kind of forces the information on you before you're ready to receive it, it's not going to be okay, you know. It's not going to be fruitful, or it's not going to bear the fruit that you want it to bear. Does anyone follow me? Okay, so anyway, I realized something, and I realized it because I have been emotionally really not doing so well you know. And of course that also shows in my eating and in everything, because I am a very, very emotional eater, and that has to do with my eating disorder, which has been rampant in the last couple of months. And also about that I kind of spoke already on the sidelines a little bit, but anyhow, that's not really the topic, because it's just a symptom, you know. The eating disorder is just a symptom of other things. Now, I'm not going to go into what is bugging me, because that is nobody's business, but the thing is that I obviously was miserable in a lot of ways. Now, let us change the brush and go into the next shade. Oh, I didn't show you what I did. This is the first shade. This is the shade Taboo. And now I want to go into Maybe and blend out Taboo. Okay, so anyhow, you know, we all sometimes have bad times and sometimes we have better times. So I think everybody can relate to this. And I think also in general, life these days is not that easy, right? Like, just if everything else is perfect, just look at the world around you and you will feel that life isn't that like fluffy anymore the way it used to be. And I kind of think that in each generation, like throughout the world history, people have felt this, but it kind of feels like stuff is coming to a climax, and it's just everything is getting more intense, everything is getting more fast-paced and more crazy, you know. So anyway, I have been dealing with stuff that just made me feel really, really off. Okay, made me feel really, really off, and I was trying to escape from this because I know that Leorah has to function. And now forget about YouTube, because at the end of the day, YouTube is the first thing that I could cut out of my life to give me more space, you know, even though this is my happy space, probably the happiest space that I have. But I still, you know, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of work to make this happen. And I kind of feel like sometimes, wow, this is really, really influencing my life way too much, you know. But anyway, I was running, and I feel like I've been running my whole life, and I'm so tired. I'm so tired of running, and this is all in connection to what I'm gonna say. So, you know, just so you know, it is just this feeling of running to save my life, you know. And I felt, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to use all these tools to make myself numb, to make myself not feel that I'm running, not feel that I want to actually escape. You know, I'm talking like emotionally and stuff like this, okay? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not running anywhere. It's just like inside of me, you know, running away from my feelings, running away from the things that hurt me and that disappoint me and all of these things, you know, like this inside running, obviously. So it has been a realization that I now had, that I want to stop running. Now, what happens when you stop running away from your feelings? You actually do have to feel them. You have to go through them, and you have to admit to yourself that it is okay. And it hit me the other day. It hit me. Wait, cheeks. This one. Okay, we're gonna stay more or less here in the same color scheme, and let's try what this is doing. This is basically for me just blending out shades, because you know I'm not like too super much into pastels, but for blending out the other shades it's really, really nice. Anyway, so what do you have to do to actually go through this? You have to allow yourself to feel those feelings that freak you out. You know, that was the hardest part for me, because I don't want to feel those feelings. I want to be happy. I want to be content. I want to be in my safe place. I want to have everything figured out. I want to be in control of a lot of things, and just like, I don't know, I wanted to be all good, you know. But fact is, life isn't like that. It's not a Hollywood movie. And that was basically a realization that I had, that I need, in order to live and in order to not drive myself nuts, I need to feel those feelings and I need to be okay with it, you know? So when these feelings come, what I do now is I embrace them. And that is so hard, because who wants to embrace an enemy, you know, something that is frightening? It's very hard. So I'm just taking a fluffy brush now, and I'm going to go again in the shade Maybe, which was the middle shade, the second one I put on. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just now placing this. I think this is too fluffy. This is almost too big for the space that I have here. But anyway, so I wanted to try to embrace this, and I kind of pep talked myself into it to allow it, you know. It was kind of really strange that I was actually withdrawing in a situation, because like the evening hours in my family are really tough. Hashtag witching hour. My kids are not that small anymore, like babies that have witching hours, but still, you know, dinner time and all of this is a very tough time, because this is when we're all together, and it's just a lot of commotion and a lot of noise and a lot of stuff to do and get ready before the end of the day, and so on and so forth. So I actually withdrew for just, I don't know, 2 minutes, you know. And I said to myself, Leorah, it is okay. You feel overwhelmed. It is okay. Don't run away from this now, because it is okay. You're a human being. You're allowed to be overwhelmed right now. You're allowed to struggle. It makes you human. Do you need to be a super woman? Do you need this to be this person that has it all figured out? I know a lot of people think of me that way, but I'm not, you know. I'm not. I'm actually struggling most of the time, and I think all of us do, and I think that is okay. And I think if someone would just come out and say openly, I'm struggling, it's hard, then all of us, the rest of us, would just know that we're okay, and we wouldn't feel so bad, and everything, the overall picture, would not be so horrible anymore. You know, because it's just in this world of Instagram and all these perfect lives and all these, I don't know, all of that, where everybody tries to show how perfect everything is. It is so toxic, because it's, first of all, it's not true. Plus, it adds on this additional thing that you feel yourself more horrible, even though you don't have to. You know. So anyway, long speech. I tried to embrace it, and I actually started to talk to myself, and apparently I'm doing that a lot, but I was talking to myself, and I was saying, Leorah, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you that you are feeling what you don't want to feel. I'm proud of you that you're going through this, and that you're not running away, not inside, not outside. You know, no more running away, no more escapism. You can do this. You can do this. You can feel this, and you can go in a few hours. You'll go to bed, and you will be so proud of yourself that you have gone through this day and you haven't escaped. You have allowed yourself to feel all kinds of things, you know? And I have been starting to find this so truly helpful, that I do not need to escape, and I do not need to distract myself from the things that bug me, that I can address them. And sometimes I can't address them, you know, and then okay, so I don't address them, but I'm in awareness that they are there, and it is okay, you know. So anyway, something like that I have figured out. Is this very fine-tuned? No. It's basically just a concept that I have kind of, I don't know, felt for myself now lately, that I don't want to run anymore. You know those nightmares that you maybe had when you were a child, or maybe even now, that you're climbing a ladder, and then these what's it called, the steps of the ladder break, and you are in a free fall. This is how I've been feeling for so many years, and I'm like, I'm trying to run away from this feeling that there is no help for me, and I'm stuck in this and I cannot go anywhere, and I don't know, stuff like that, you know. And what I want to do is I want to feel all of this. And I think a lot of people have that problem who are actually already feeling so much, because I'm a very, very emotional person. I'm very, very feeling focused, you know, very, very much so, more than anything else. And for a person who is like that, to not allow herself to feel, it is so toxic, you know. When you have a person who is more like mind-based, or however one says that in proper English, then it might feel a little bit different. You might not need to feel so much. Maybe you figure out your life in other ways. But for me personally, it yeah, I just needed to allow myself to be what I was meant to be. I was meant to be a very, very emotional person, you know, and that is okay. And I think only if we get as close as possible to the way we were created, then we can actually make it through life without breaking. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm going to try to finish this look at some point. So you see that I've been going back and forth between those three shades and just blending, because that's what I do. Honestly, I do this also to calm myself down, you know, because it is so incredibly soothing to just work with colors and to see how they kind of float into each other. And it, for me, this is like, this is therapy. Okay, so what I also want to do is I'm going to place this darkest shade that we used, which was Taboo, here on the sides. And then I want to actually do a kind of a halo eye, and I want to try to put the neon there, which is super scary. Do you know how neons are with me? They kind of really hate me. But anyhow, I want to try. So let's just do that. Let's give it a try. Yeah, so but basically this is what I wanted to talk to you about, because this is where I stand right now. I also have to say that I actually started to now go back to therapy for my eating disorder, because it has been really hard for me and kind of really out of control, and I just needed to reach out for help, which in itself was also so hard. Because me asking for help is like almost impossible, and it took me weeks to make that phone call, and I had no reason to fear this phone call or anything, because my therapist was so happy to hear from me and, you know, to like embrace me back. But anyway, for me it was just, I don't know, very hard. So I have to say that now here the shade doesn't pick up so well like in the crease. I would like it to be a little bit darker here as well. So I'm just going to, before I place the cut crease, I'm just going to trick, does one say that to trick? No, to cheat. To cheat a little bit, and I'm placing a tiny little bit more of eyeshadow primer on. And dab it in, and then I'm going to place that same shade above it. I do that all the time, like even to fix the look when there is something that didn't work so well or whatever. I do that all the time. So all right, I think you can also see immediately that it is now the intensity that it was supposed to be. It's just because the eyeshadow primer, of course, that is on the lid has maybe set a little bit already due to eyeshadow falling down on it a little bit, and also because it sets, because it dries down, you know, it dries down a little bit. So this is really easily fixed. All right, sweeties, how long have I been filming? Oh my goodness. Okay, so we gotta do this fast. I'm going to do this. Okay, sweeties, now this is not perfect, but it's okay. The thing is, with neons, I have the experience that I just cannot blend them out, because you can maybe do a tiny little bit, but then they start to flake off, you know? So I'm very, very aware of stuff that could be going wrong. So I'm going to try this one here, which is charged. That is the pink shade, and I'm going to just dab it on like that, and I'm not going to do any blending at all, because in my experiences this is not, like, neons are not very workable. So they are workable, but they're not blendable. Not, you know. Anyhow, so that is that. I have to say that considering that it is a neon shade, it is actually working super, super well, because I had neon shades in my life that were absolutely not, they were not it, you know? Okay, one more thing that I do want to do is I want to in order to have like a tiny little bit of a transition, I want to actually use this shimmer shade here, which is also in this color scheme, sorry for being so boring, which is called All Mine. And I am going to use, which brush should I use? I want to use a small, kind of a flat, like a tiny little concealer brush. And I'm going to just smooth that on as a transition between the neon and the dark shade. Just a tiny little bit, because I just want to, you know, to make it a little bit more flowing maybe. Yeah, and I'm very, very careful to not touch the neon shade too much, because yeah, I don't want to. I kind of had to really, really force myself to use a neon, because I'm not into them too much, but they're a big part of this palette. So I think it would just be wrong to give you a review without having used them. So anyhow, this is somewhat what the look is going to be. And I am going to try to figure out what I do under my eye. Probably something involving the orange, because I have not used that yet. Okay, so anyway, some fine tuning is still coming, and of course I'll finish the look. You'll see the other two looks in pictures, and you'll see swatches, and then we'll meet right here for the review part, so stay tuned. Okay, my lovelies, here we are, of course, with the finished look and the finished styling. I also just showed you the swatches that I still have right here, and this is the finished look. And yeah, so let's zoom in and just show it to you a little bit closer up so you can judge for yourself. And of course, in a second I'll show you in the palette how I finished the look, but I don't think it's a big mystery. So anyway, this is how it has turned out, and it's quite dramatic, isn't it? All right, sweeties, let's just look at this. Okay, so what I did under my eye, I did put a purple, a kind of light purple, on my waterline, and then I went in with this shade here right under my lash line, and I blended it out a tiny little bit with this, tiny little bit, okay, just a hint, and I deepened it up with this one closer to the lashes. And of course in the inner corner I have this one. Okay, so this is basically how I finished the look. Now let's talk about the palette. No, let's talk about the swatches. Let's first of all talk about the swatches. This is on a bare arm. I cannot twist it enough so you can see it properly, but this is all on a bare arm. My swatches are always on a bare arm. There's nothing underneath, okay? So I have to say, considering that, I'm very, very impressed, but very impressed. I don't think there is a single shade that didn't swatch well, which is wow. You know, that is seriously wow. And also the whole row of pastels, and also the whole row of neons swatched super, super well. They fell super smooth to the touch. There is nothing dry. There's nothing dry in this palette. you know, and that is so, so cool. I'm very, very impressed, especially by the matte formula. Now, my personally disliking is too much. It's not like I'm disliking pastels and neons. It is just that it's not too much my style. It's nice when it's in the palette, so it gives me a little bit more options to play. And especially for the inner corner, I actually do really like neons because it gives a nice touch, you know. But it is like the whole variety in this palette is incredible. So of course, you see, you get a whole lot of product here. Super, super nice. You do have cardboard packaging. I also have the sleeve somewhere. The sleeve looks sorry, the sleeve looks like this. Of course, the same like the palette, and then you also have the shades here on the sleeve, and you do have nothing, like you don't have the shades on the palette. Okay, you also do have the ingredients on the sleeve. Okay, forgot to have that on. But anyway, so you do have cardboard packaging, and then of course you do have also really, really cool shade names. You don't have a mirror, which I don't care. I have my own mirror. I never need the mirror in a palette, so that is fine. And this brick kind of a design is really, really cool. You know, I really like it. It's very, very earthy and very, I don't know, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but anyway. So yeah, so considering that I'm not too much into neons and not too much into pastels, I have to say that the performance of the neons and the pastels really, really surprised me, you know? The fact that I'm not using, especially neons, not a lot, is because according to my experience and to my level of, I don't know, yeah, knowledge, they're not so easy to work with, you know, not at all. And maybe you are more experienced than I am, or more qualified or whatever, so maybe you have different experiences. But for me, neons are pretty annoying. They look super, super nice. I love them, but to work with them is annoying. Now, putting that into perspective with this palette, I want to say that these neons and these pastels are probably the highest quality products that I have here, this palette in my collection. I want to say they're way better than the pastels from Glamlight. And the only other neons that I have in a palette are from Root Cosmetics, the City of Neon Lights palette, which is already like 2 years ago that I used it, and you know, yeah, so that is that. So I have to say that this is really, really impressive. Super, super nice. Now, also, of course, the shade range and everything is super beautifully done and just so well worked out. I really, really love what you did here. So, so amazing. Now, when it comes to the shimmers, about the shimmers, we need to talk. Okay, so first of all, we do have two that are a little bit more metallic. These are these two, and the other ones are a little bit more like a more gentle glow. Okay, also of course all shimmers and everything fine. These ones also pick up easier on the brush. These ones here, they move a little bit under the brush. It is probably better to use a sponge tipped applicator to use those, or just use your finger. Now that is of course always a problem when you're using them in like small spaces and stuff where you don't have space to use it with your finger. But anyway, you'll figure it out. I think that it is sometimes a little bit hard to pick those four up on the brush. Besides that, I have to say that they creased a lot on me on all the primers that I used. That was also one of the reasons why I did not really use one of the shimmers today in my review look, because I didn't want to have that. In the other two looks, I had creasing, and I used the Natasha Denona primer, and also in the first look, I used the Jybel MUA primer, and both of them usually work for me. Now, I have noticed in the recent weeks and months that stuff creases on me more. Does that mean I'm getting older? Maybe. It's possible, you know, that stuff just starts to crease on me more as my skin changes, or as my, I don't know, features change as I'm aging, you know. But it could also be that it's just that brands are doing different formulas now that maybe don't work so much for me. So you feel free to check out how it works for you, or maybe if you've tried it and you want to recommend a different kind of primer, then please do so, because I'm definitely willing to try all kinds of primers that do prevent creasing. But the creasing with those shades that I used in the first two looks was really, really significant. You know, it was not just a little bit separating, it was like really big time. And that is, it's a shame, but I feel like I still needed to share it because this is how my experience was. Does not mean though that it is gonna happen to you. Okay, so anyway, that is that. I also did have a tiny little bit of staining in the first look, so I assume that there is going to be a bit today because this is of course way more bold than in the first look when I used some of the pinkish shades or the purple. But I personally don't care. I have absolutely no problem with this. I am not sensitive at all to that or whatever. I just really honestly don't care. Beyond that, the mattes, out of this world, stunning. I just for the mattes, forget the shimmers, okay, if they're creasing on you or not, but the mattes, sweeties, they are so worth the palette. They're so worth the palette. The pigmentation is out of this world, insanely stunning, and buildability, insanely stunning, blendability, really, really nice. Now today I have to say, this dark shade that I put down first, it grabbed on to the primer like crazy. I had a bit of a hard time making this blend, but that was my fault, you know. But anyway, because I should have blended out the first shade a little bit more before putting on the second one, and I didn't do that. But you know, sometimes I get away with it, sometimes I don't, so whatever. But I think the finished result is nice. But just saying that this formula rocks out of this world, you know? Yeah, absolutely. And the color payoff of the swatches on a bare arm is insane. Now just imagine I would swatch this on a prepared arm with eyeshadow primer or something. It's like I cannot even, you know. What I want to also try to do with those neons, for example, that are in the palette, is that I want to mix them with my Dora line and create liners and stuff like that, because this is what I love to use neons for. Yeah, so that is that, you know. I'm really, really impressed by this palette, and please feel free to let me know what your experiences are with the shimmers. I also have to say that I have not watched any of the reviews of about this palette from any other YouTuber, first of all because I don't have much time watching YouTube, and also when I know that I'm going to work with a palette, I don't want to get influenced by what other people say. So that's why I just don't know what the experiences of other people are, but this is basically unfiltered my experience of my 3 looks that I've done with the palette, and I want to say that it's like 98% it's a beautiful experience, you know. So anyway, that is that. That's my verdict. Take it or leave it, and that is what it is. Sweeties, have you enjoyed yourselves? I hope you did. Of course, as always, leave me your comments and your feedback down in the comment section, and of course check out my description box with my makeup of today, with my discount codes, with my links to social media, and with a few ways to support my channel. And besides that, of course, if you're new here and have not done so, then please subscribe, because I would absolutely be thrilled to have you, and I shall see you here super soon for my next video. And up until then, definitely go ahead and sparkle. Hugs and kisses. Bye.